Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. We broadcast live every weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, bringing you all kinds of tech headlines, interviews, and discussions. And we've got a brand new segment that we are starting right now. I'm Greg Nibbler, very excited to be joined by Ken Young, the technology editor at Flipboard. Hello, Ken.
Hey, how's it going, Greg? Nice to join you here.
Yeah, thanks so much. So this is our new segment. It's called Tech Briefs, where Ken and I will walk you through some of the big stories of the previous week. And we've had a lot that's gone on. It took us a little while to kind of narrow down what to even talk about in this. But I got to say that one of the most trending stories this week has got to be the Samsung Galaxy Fold fiasco.
Right. I think that's got to be what everyone was hopefully looking forward to buying today. Originally it was supposed to go on sale today, but during the reviews by several journalists, including those from CNBC, Bloomberg, and even from The Verge, they've reported that their screens malfunctioned on the foldable device, and Samsung is still trying to figure out what's going on with the device, and therefore has postponed the launch. Reports so far suggest it's going to be in June, but who knows? But as of right now, it's kind of giving Huawei and maybe Apple, giving them some opportunity to breathe a sigh of relief. And right now, the next phone we can look forward to from Samsung is the Galaxy S10 5G. That's supposed to come out fairly soon.
Which that one, at least, you would think they've got the S10 pretty dialed in, so the 5G component of it shouldn't be too bad. But this Galaxy Fold, I mean, looking at it for just all this hype that we've had for so long, because we had this promise for years that foldable technology was going to be on its way, that foldable displays. And then Samsung just out of nowhere is like, yep, we got it, and we're pushing it out right now in April. You're going to get it. And it seemed really quick at the time. We're like, well, maybe they've been working on it for so long that they have this all dialed in. But apparently not. Do you think that they maybe just rushed this out too quickly?
You know, I think it's maybe a tad bit early, that they may not have thought it out. I think it kind of brought back to light memories of the Note 7. It's probably not as severe as the Note 7. I don't certainly think so. A broken display is certainly less dangerous than exploding batteries. But I think what Samsung has done is certainly accelerated the trend of foldable devices. They came out with theirs, they debuted theirs during Unpacked, and then at Mobile World Congress this year, or MWC Barcelona, in February, then you started to see a whole bunch of phone makers announce theirs or announce their intentions to, or whether or not they would be pro-foldable or anti-foldable, or just a wait and see type of mentality. So I think it's probably early. I kind of see an interesting appeal for it, but I wouldn't be paying $2,000 for the foldable.
Yeah, definitely. Although if I did pay that $2,000, I would be pretty disappointed I'm not getting it right about now.
That's fairly true. I mean, it's like I actually have the S10 myself, and I really enjoy it. But there's no way that I would see a need for the foldable at right now. I definitely see some potential for the foldable for business travelers, especially as you look at what Apple's been doing with the iPad Pro and Microsoft. A lot of these companies are catering more towards people that want to do more high-end type stuff, more business stuff on the go.
Well, we'll see what happens going forward with that. Another big topic this week has to do with Amazon across a number of different levels, but in particular, just honing in on one of them, dealing with smart home assistants. And a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, we received those reports that some of the crew that works on the Alexa app, they are able to actually listen to specific conversations and share those conversations that people are using when they're giving their commands to their smart home assistants, which is a little unnerving, although maybe not that unexpected. But now we received word that not only can they listen to the conversations, but apparently they can also hone in and get the exact address, the coordinates of specific smart home assistants, so they have your voice and your address. Should we be unnerved by that?
I don't know. I think that comes down to the broader implication around privacy in general when it comes to connected devices. I think if you remember back when smart TVs first came into play, everyone was questioning, like, is my TV listening to me? And now you have the same thing, whether it's a Google Home or Amazon Alexa or whatever else is out there these days. So I'm not surprised that Amazon has this type of information, but they've clearly come out and said that with their statement saying very limited people, they restrict access to this information for only those that absolutely need to have that. Now, whether that's just a PR spin, I don't know, but I mean that's certainly going to make people wary about that type of stuff. And what's interesting here to add on to that is that Amazon's whole thing is about is centered around Alexa and all these different connected devices, and even with their smart home technology with Ring and with their Echo Key and all those type of things, that they want to make it easier for people to just get deliveries, have people have couriers drop off stuff inside their homes without any worry. So I think this might give some people pause, but it's certainly something to pay attention to further down the line.
Yeah, I think maybe part of it is to just we're a little bit, just as a whole, a little weary with all of these different security breaches and privacy concerns, and legitimate ones, a lot of them, so that maybe we're just a little bit punch drunk on that. So it's like, I don't know, scared, whatever's going on there. But yeah, I mean, we do have to admit, if you're going to use these things, if you want them to improve, that is some of the information that they've got to get. Right. And with a company like Amazon, I doubt it's probably not going to sway anybody who already has a smart home assistant to not get one. Although if you're already firmly in that camp of I don't want one, this isn't going to change anything for you really down the line.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's a trade-off that consumers really need to weigh. I mean, they're getting all these additional skills through Amazon Alexa. Same thing with Google Home and Siri and Cortana and those type of things. It's all a matter of convenience versus a matter of them giving the data away for these companies to study and potentially use for other product developments, other advancements to supposedly make our lives better. But of course, in this day and age right now, big tech is facing a lot of scrutiny when it comes to data privacy and the use of AI for ethical or unethical purposes. So I think it's going to be a matter of taking a look at seeing what companies actually are willing to protect people's privacy without actually sacrificing it for their bottom line.
Well, one more thing in that whole discussion that I think we're going to be having for a long time. One final thing we want to get to here to talk about, just kind of wrapping up what happened this week, at least a few different stories. Tesla, which is in the news all the time. I mean, Elon Musk finds a way to get in the news with all of his different ventures, sometimes good, sometimes bad. And part of it was their investors conference that happened this week. And there were a couple of things. One, they announced a huge financial loss over Q1. What was it, $700-some million?
I think it was pretty extreme. I think Jim Cramer or one of the analysts that went on TV right after the earnings basically called it an absolute drubbing. I'm not exactly sure if that was the exact word, but it was like the first time in a few quarters that Tesla hasn't achieved profitability. So I think there's a lot of people that were skeptical about what's going on with Tesla right now. Obviously, there's still those that are bullish about it, but I think in terms of their earnings, it was kind of caught some people by surprise.
Yeah. And along those lines, as far as hearing the earnings, there's also, of course, a lot of things that Elon claimed that Tesla was on the verge of, and that's not something that's new. They've made a lot of claims. Some of that, like I said, some of these things come true, some don't. But a really bold prediction that he had was that they were going to have fully autonomous vehicles, I believe, by the end of this year, and then even this other side of it, these autonomous robotaxis that they're claiming they're going to have by the end of 2020, where essentially the basic concept is you would buy a Tesla, you would be able to rent it out as an Uber type of service to where it would just go around and pick people up for you and then autonomously, and then you would get paid for that and then bring your Tesla back to your house. And I think he said something like 1 million of these is what he anticipated having out. Is that right?
Yeah, that's basically what he said by 2020. But I think it's all a matter of, look, I think with Elon, he's a visionary in terms of the technology and all these type of things. And what he's done really well with Tesla is kind of done these updates through over-the-air changes. So he's basically saying that the cars that are out there now can have autonomous driving now. It's just a matter of some tweaking and perfecting the software. And he's made he's doubled down on his claims in terms of how other companies are doing autonomous vehicles. Like they're doing it wrong, but Tesla has the right strategy. Now that's all a matter of how it all winds up in the future. I think 2020 is a very bold claim to get robotaxis out there, but when you look at Waymo, you look at Uber, you look at Lyft, and all these other companies that are that are getting into autonomous driving, I mean, they're taking a while to do. They're doing test runs in Arizona and in Pittsburgh and all these other places. we're still a little ways out from actually seeing autonomous vehicles. Now, to Tesla's credit, they do have their self-driving technology already in some of the cars. So you do see you hear news about people that are letting their cars drive for them. But Tesla still says you got to keep both hands on the wheel just in case of an accident. And we've seen a few incidents in the past where these type of accidents has occurred.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be really interesting to see if they can even come anywhere near that by next year. But I think bold predictions by Elon Musk are probably something we're going to be having frequently on this news segment. And I know we're out of time. There's so much to pack in such a short amount of time. But we're really excited about this news segment. So it's Tech Briefs with Digital Trends and Flipboard. It's going to be myself and Ken kind of bringing you up to date on three, four stories, whatever we can fit in that time throughout the week. But Ken, thanks so much for joining us, and looking forward to talking to you next week.
Likewise. Thanks.